I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason.
Welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in the first trailer for She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Now, if you're not familiar with She-Hulk, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of her story from the comics. Jennifer Walters was an ace attorney who also happened to be the cousin of Bruce Banner. She was a brilliant law student who shunned her social life for her career and never really got out much or made many friends. But then she was shot by men working for a mobster that she was prosecuting, and her cousin was forced to give her a blood transfusion. This transformed her into the She-Hulk, but unlike her cousin, Jennifer was able to control her transformations. In fact, she just preferred to stay in She-Hulk form because it was more fun. She got that social life that she always craved, and like we see in this movie, she's popular with the fellas.
Should we split some fries?
Now, over the years, she joined the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, but my favorite She-Hulk stories are from the brilliant run by Dan Slott. That's a great place to start if you actually want to read some of the comics. This series seems like it's going to be based heavily on that run. Even the poster is inspired by the cover of She-Hulk #7. Thanks, La Ruta del Geek on Twitter for that observation. And the costume that we see in this trailer is comic accurate from that run as well. The series is set in Jennifer's hometown of Los Angeles, and it seems like this is near Cousin Bruce's Island Laboratory, where Professor Hulk was created.
18 months in the gamma lab. I put the brains and the brawn together.
The opening narration is Bruce giving her a pep talk.
Being a superhero is a trial by fire. Who's gonna protect the world if not people like you?
This is actually a lot like the welcome to the layer cake conversation that he had with Shang-Chi at the post-credit scene of that movie.
Welcome to the circus.
Then we see flashes of a glamorous black tie event that is attacked by guys with high-tech weaponry. Or maybe these guys are security and they're firing at some unseen villain. I think this is the same event that we see later where Jennifer exits a limo in her dress. Now, in that Dan Slott run that I mentioned earlier, She-Hulk is kicked out of the Avengers mansion for partying too much. Then Holloway offers her a job as an attorney dealing with superhuman crimes, like he says here.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
The stories from this run are so much fun, and frankly, this kind of thing is long overdue in the MCU. They have stories like Spider-Man suing J. Jonah Jameson for libel, Doctor Strange channeling a ghost to testify at his own murder trial. It's just all so much fun, and it seems like this series is going to be in that same spirit. Jennifer then mentions her friends. In particular, I noticed Josh Segarra, who might be playing her fellow lawyer Pug from the comics. Now notice the board behind him says GLKH. This stands for the name of the law firm from the comics, Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway. And these names are also Marvel Easter eggs. Marty Goodman was the original publisher of Marvel Comics, Lieber is the real last name of Stan Lee, and Kurtzberg was the real last name of Jack Kirby. These three people were basically the founding fathers of Marvel Comics. Now, I love the idea of a superpowered law in the MCU. So many things about this universe are now nowhere near our own universe. Just think about like all the legal complications from the blip.
Did I tell you how my wife pretended to blip out? We had a fake funeral for her and everything. Well, the funeral was real, but it's because I thought she was really dead.
And we see a car going up to a prison for superpowered people. This is like the raft that we saw in Civil War, except I'm guessing this is on the West Coast and the raft is on the East Coast. I'm also kind of wondering if this entire prison could just be for the Abomination. I mean, probably not, but that would be cool. Then we get the reintroduction of Tim Roth's Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk. Now, it might have been a while since you saw that movie, so here's the TLDR on this character. Blonsky was an elite special forces soldier with CGI abs who, for some reason, they cast Tim Roth to play. Tim Roth is great, but this is not the right role for him. Thunderbolt Ross gives Blonsky an injection of some Cap super soldier serum prototype so he can face off against Banner.
Not a great plan.
So Blonsky forces Delmar to give him an injection of Banner blood, even though the results could be
An abomination.
The Abomination then goes on what I call a Grand Theft Auto spree until the Hulk shows up. Side note, the wound that he gets here is actually a scar that stays on the Hulk for the rest of the MCU. The last time we saw Blonsky, he was cage fighting with the Sorcerer Supreme and Shang-Chi. See what I mean? This universe is so weird now. So here's a fun Easter egg. The cage that Wong returns Blonsky to is the same one that we see in this trailer. Now, it is great to finally see Blonsky back in the MCU. After all, we've had a giant villain with Hulk-level powers who has not been seen since 2008. We did have a brief reference to him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'll reassign you to Barrow, Alaska, and you'll spend the rest of your years pulling the night shift guarding Blonsky's cryocell.
But chances are that show took place in a different part of the multiverse, while She-Hulk is legit 616 MCU. You'll also notice they vastly improved his look from The Incredible Hulk, giving him comic-accurate ears. Now, for a while now, we've been hoping that Blonsky would reappear in an MCU team-up film based on the Thunderbolts. We suspect this is a team of villains or anti-heroes that Val is putting together, including Yelena Belova and John Walker.
Sorry. I'm allergic to the Midwest.
The group would be called the Thunderbolts because it would have been started by Thunderbolt Ross. Now, the actor who played him, William Hurt, just died in real life. So if they chose to kill that character in the movies, then the name could just be a tribute to him. Though personally, I wouldn't mind if they recast him just so we could see him as the Red Hulk.
You people are a joke. In a week, I would have been running things.
So it's interesting that in this trailer, Blonsky is back to being human and can apparently control his transformations. Maybe Bruce had something to do with that since he's all about gamma breakthroughs these days.
I put the brains and the brawn together, and now look at me.
And cheese and rice? What is that on Blonsky's jumpsuit? Is that a f***ing hexagon?
Not the beast! Not the beast!
Notice later when he transforms, we can actually see this uniform being shredded and falling away. Neat touch. Anyways, Holloway wants Jennifer to be the face of his new superhuman law division, which is basically also what happens in the comics. But in the books, he has this stipulation that she stays as Jennifer Walters, not She-Hulk, because she's less prone to party and getting into trouble that way. So in the trailer, we see this car accident. And this is likely Jennifer having a car accident, which forces Bruce to give her that blood transfusion. Just throwing a guess out there, I'm wondering if Blonsky was suing Bruce Banner and Jennifer was defending him. So maybe the scene where Bruce has the binder is actually the case files from that lawsuit. And then on the way out, she has her accident and Bruce is forced to give her a blood transfusion. I think you can defend your own cousin in court, right? Yeah, my cousin Vinny, you totally can do that.
Vinny Bag of Donuts, how are you? This is Vinny.
Now, like I said earlier, this island could be where Bruce kept his gamma lab. A remote location would make sure the Hulk wouldn't hurt anybody if the experiment went south, and Tony could have bought the island for Bruce. Tony would have funded Bruce's research because he was all about helping Bruce with his green problem.
What if you were sipping margaritas on a sun-drenched beach, turning brown instead of green? Not looking over your shoulder for Veronica.
Don't hate, I helped design Veronica.
Kinsey L on Twitter also suggested that this island location could eventually become the headquarters of the West Coast Avengers, like one of their HQs in the comics. So this is definitely the island where he trains her later on. And we even see him giving her meditation training like he had in The Incredible Hulk. Now, I think all of these scenes with her origin and training happened during the blip. Notice that Bruce still has 2 good arms. In Shang-Chi, we see that regular old puny Banner still has a clipped wing. I mean, it could be that he's healed since then, but it seems like kind of a waste to have him show up as Banner with a bad arm in Shang-Chi. But I do think that the bulk of the series will likely take place after Avengers Endgame. So this series could give us a very rare glimpse of what life was like during the blip. Bruce gives her training on how to control her hulking out like he learned to do before the Avengers.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
I mean, the scene still doesn't make sense, but whatever, it's cool. So here we see her with a file box of her belongings. I'm guessing she was fired from her old job for engaging in her Hulk activities, which led to Holloway hiring her for her job at his superhuman law office.
I just want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
Now, I think that throughout the series, we're going to see Jen slowly being She-Hulk more and more. In the comics, she loves fame and the social life that comes with being a superhero, and we see her start to embrace that in this trailer. For one thing, there's this person in the electric helmet who tries to mug her, and she just hulks out to take him down. Now, if you're wondering who this character is, the yellow energy signature from the helmet is a major clue. This is your mom. During their training, Bruce executes a perfect superhero landing. It's terrible for your knees, but whatever.
Such a poser.
While Jennifer lands more practically, but less badass. Then she talks about not wanting to be a hero, saying,
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans.
She's talking about, well, like at bare minimum, Tony Stark there, who fits into all 3 of those categories and is also a public figure whose identity is known by everybody. Daredevil is also an adult orphan, but there's no way that she could know that because his identity is a secret. I'm bringing up Daredevil because it is very likely he's going to appear in this series. After all, they are 2 superhero lawyers. Please let Daredevil be in the show. Then we see her here fighting someone in a courtroom. This is likely Titania, who we see later on played by Jamila Jamil from The Good Place.
Say aluminum.
Aluminium.
I love that!
She's an outstanding character and is a She-Hulk villain from the comics. And she dates the Absorbing Man, who appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was mentioned off-screen in Daredevil.
A match with Creel. Creel?
I'm telling you, Daredevil's going to be in this show. And this guy's Frogman. Frogman's great. He's kind of a dunce whose dad was a lame frog-based supervillain, but now Frogman wants to use his dad's old stuff to fight crime and redeem his family name. He's a hilarious character, lots of fun, and I can't wait to see how he figures into this show. This is Bruce waking up for a morning training, and notice his big green hand. And the brand name of the air horn is Mighty Honk. Could be a play on Mighty Thor, or it could be a slide nod to Howard the Duck, who of course appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy and briefly here in Avengers Endgame. And the trailer ends with Jennifer forgetting some, which she does in the comics all the time. She even once got it on with Star Fox, that's Harry Styles' character from the Eternals. And then later on, actually, she realized that he might have been using his powers to manipulate the pleasure centers of her brain so he could get in bed with her.
Ah, what the hell is the matter with you? Outside! Outside now!
Anyways, I think this trailer nails the spirit of She-Hulk perfectly. I'm excited for the series, though the CGI is a bit uncanny valley. Look, I know this is a Disney Plus show with just 10 episodes, so I'm presuming they don't have the budget of an MCU movie. But what did you think of the CGI? Do you think it looks great, or do you think it looks like she should be spouting some Polish any minute now? Let me know in the comments below, or you can @ me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.